Hello there, and the story ninjas in the house. Well, listening ninjas, you may probably have guessed that I'm operating things on my own today. But it's story time, as usual, and stories for all, of course. Well, we'll be reading something out of Thoko's collection of stories, yes, by Niki Daly. And you may remember that we read some of Thoko's stories a while back. But let's see what we have for today. What made Thoko smile? So I'm sure you have some special things and memories, thoughts that make you smile when there's a chance that your smile may have run away somewhere. But let's find out what has taken Thoko's smile off her face and what has brought it back. Well, let's get started. Thoko woke up with a tummy ache. That doesn't sound too good, does it? Well, stay in bed today, Thoko, said Mama. Perhaps you'll feel better tomorrow and then you can go to school. Let's see, poor Thoko, feeling ever so sick and I'm sure not too happy. Well, the next day, Thoko did not feel any better. Her tummy ached, her head ached, and she'd lost her smile. Oh, poor Thoko, said Mama. We'll have to go to the clinic. Mama helped Thoko get dressed while Gogo went outside to wave down a taxi. Emergency! Cried Gogo as the taxi screeched to a halt. My grandchild is very sick and needs to get to the clinic, Gogo explained to the taxi driver. No problem, said the taxi driver, and as soon as Mama and Thoko climbed into the taxi, off they sped. Let's just have a little look at this story. Sometimes we just need pictures to help us, don't we? Well, poor Thoko felt as though she was going to get sick as the taxi bumped and zigged and zagged all the way through the traffic. She rested her head against her mama's soft body. A lady smiled at Thoko, but Thoko just closed her eyes. Thoko had lost her smile. Pop, pop! Went the taxi, jerking to a stop outside the clinic. That seemed to be a quick ride. Well, the nurse took Thoko's temperature and then immediately she called the doctor. Something was not right. Mama helped Thoko undress so that the doctor could examine her. Oh, this won't hurt, said the nice doctor. But Thoko went, ouch, when the doctor pressed gently against her tummy. The doctor explained what was wrong with Thoko. Now, this is a big word, boys and girls, so we're going to sound it out very slowly. Some of you may very well have heard of it. Thoko listened carefully too. It was appendicitis. Now that's a big word, isn't it? And what is it? Well, Thoko thought it sounded something like that. And Thoko had to go immediately to the big hospital. Go quickly, said the doctor. Oh, our ambulance is leaving. So rush now. Now, appendicitis, you still want to find out what that big word is. I think we'll find out soon. The ambulance drove even faster than the taxi. We are. Did I get that sound right? Do you think we want to do the ambulance sound again? Let me hear. We are. Yes, we are off on our way to the hospital with Thoko and Mama. And oh dear, just before they arrived, Thoko threw up into a bag. Oh, shame, poor Thoko. And afterwards, she felt a little bit better, but still no smiles. Let's go, said the young ambulance driver as they stopped outside the hospital, and he quickly unfolded a wheelchair for Thoko, and off they shot into the big building where Thoko and Mama had to wait in her room filled with people. Let's just see Thoko on her way to hospital in an ambulance. Well, some of you may have been inside big hospitals, and it's usually very, very huge. Lots of passengers, many, many people, doctors and nurses rushing up and down. So Mama and Thoko waited and waited and waited until their names were called. Mrs. Twala and Thoko! They followed the young doctor down a passage and into a lift and out again. And, as I said, many passages, so down another passage, with the wheelchair going squeak, squeak, squeak on the shiny floor. And then they stopped at a room that said MRI. Let's see. I think we are going to find out quite a lot of new things today. And this is what was happening in the room. Sure, you can see. That's the MRI machine, or like a big scanner. This won't take long, said the doctor, and then we'll know what will make Thoko feel better. So they weren't sure exactly of what was wrong with Thoko, even though they thought it was. Yes, that big word, appendicitis. Well, the doctor helped Thoko lie on a bed that went slowly through this tunnel in that big machine. And it sounded like Mama's washing machine. And there on a screen, they saw a strange picture. And it was what Thoko looked like inside. So let us see. What did she look like inside? I'm going to go really, really close. And maybe we could see inside Thoko. This is Thoko's appendix, said the doctor, pointing to a small white blob. And see, it's rather swollen. And that's why Thoko is feeling sick. So what are we going to do? Asked Mama. Well, we'll remove it tomorrow, said the doctor. I think Thoko is going in for surgery, or she's going to have an operation. Well, don't worry, Thoko. You'll be asleep for most of it, and when you wake up, it will all be over. Oh, I think, yes, Thoko will be asleep during the operation. Okay, and then she's going to wake up afterwards. Well, she gave Thoko a big smile, but Thoko did not give one back. The next morning, Thoko was wheeled into the operating theatre. So that's the special room in the hospital where they perform operations. And it's a very sterile room, and obviously it has all the big lights, a special bed, and lots of machines and gadgets and things around. So the surgeon winked at her through his green mask, like the masks we are all wearing right now, and told her to count to 10. So let's have a look. Here we see poor little Thoko lying on the bed in the operating theatre. See, I told you there was a big light. Well, let's count with Thoko, and very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then all went black. What do you think's happened to Thoko right now? I heard some of you say, perhaps she fell asleep. Thoko slept while the clever surgeon cut a tiny slit in her tummy and removed her appendix. Now you want to know what it looked like. I'll show you the picture, but we're going to explain it too. It looked like a swollen red finger. But thank goodness it was out. And then the doctor closed up that tiny slit in her tummy with stitches, and booms, the surgery was over. And when Thoko finally woke, Mama and Gogo were there. How are you feeling? They asked. How do you think Thoko was feeling? Some of you may have had operations already, small ones. Some of you may have had bigger operations, or maybe you've even had a brother or a sister or a cousin or someone who's had one and spoken about it. So you may have an idea. Well, this is what Thoko had to say. It felt as though someone was pinching on her tummy. Gogo gave her toes a little bit of a tickle. Do you think it brought back Thoko's smile? Not yet. It did not bring Thoko's smile back. And when Mama told her that she had to stay one more day in the hospital and one more night, Definitely no smiles for Thoko. Thoko had a frown. Well, during the day, a very important doctor came around to see Thoko. He had a very funny moustache. You want to see this funny moustache, don't you? Ah, but let's find out who he was. Yes, I said a very important doctor. Do you think he made Thoko smile with that funny moustache? Not at all. Next, a lady asked Thoko how to spell his surname, and she wore funny spectacles. But do you think that made Thoko smile? Let's see. No, that didn't work either. And then a man with a silly hat read a funny story, and all the children laughed and laughed except for Thoko. Let's see this funny man. Sometimes we do have storytellers visiting hospitals, and they cheer up all the children who are needing to stay in for quite a while. Well, then later, the nurse brought Thoko a bowl of wobbly jelly. Yes, most people get jellies in hospital as dessert, or after they've just woken up after surgery so they could have something light to eat. But do you think that made Thoko smile? Not at all. All she wanted was to go home. Oh dear, she was missing Gogo and Mama, wasn't she? But then, let's see who comes to visit. That evening, Evelina, the cleaning lady, came down the passage. And when she looked into the ward, she knew at once what this little girl needed. The little girl with a frown. So let's have a look at Evelina. What do you think she's doing? Evelina started to sing and dance. This way, that way, with her mop. What do you think Thoko's feeling? Has she seen Evelina? Do you think this is going to finally bring a smile back? May just be, so let's find out. Evelina actually reminded Thoko of Gogo, and her mop, with its flying braids, reminded her of Mama. Yebo! Mama and Gogo. Oh goodness, and when are they coming to fetch me? Thoko thought. They were coming to take her home tomorrow. Oh goodness. Thoko was having pleasant thoughts. And that's what made Thoko smile. So boys and girls and all those big people around there too, when we think of people we care about, people who are special, I know it definitely does bring a smile to our faces. So let's see those big smiles. Right, flashing those sparkly teeth. And we'll see you next time. So goodbye for now.